I'm excited for your documentary.
Yeah, I kind of that idea has fallen to the back of my brain now. That was on the forefront, but I keep looking at, like, every time I'm in my office, I look at these 3 cameras that I like, 3 really nice cameras that are just like sitting on my desk or like on the table, and I'm like, damn, I should be using these.
And he looks at me. You know that?
No.
There's like a Weird Al song where it's like an awkward drive-through scenario,
Okay.
and then he just like, and he looks at me, and I look at him, and he looks at me, and it's just back and forth, them staring at each other. So it's you looking at your 3 cameras, being like, what am I gonna do with you?
I know. And then I'll pick it up and take a few pictures inside my office and then put it back.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few times where I just see like the test photos that you had of your I think Shotzi.
Yep, took a few more today.
Yeah, and then it
usually
just
what I do.
When I bring home your SD cards, I just see those because there's like so many different folders on those things.
Hopefully I don't leave anything too revealing in those.
I was searching, trust me. I was hoping to find some spicy content.
Yeah, I went through the archives. No, I mean, I played around with the ISO a little bit and shutter speed a little bit, but nothing too crazy. There's just like so many settings that are besides shutter speed, ISO, and what's the third part of the triangle?
Shutter speed, ISO, and aperture.
Aperture, yeah. Although aperture is limited by your lens.
Yeah.
Yeah. What the other 2 generally aren't as much.
Correct.
Yeah. So I have like full range in 2 of them, and then the third one, I don't think these have a huge range. I don't think they're versatile. I don't think they really have that though.
Yeah. Fast is what you would call it. The lower the number, the faster it is. It's a little lesson for you guys who are buying a camera out there.
Yeah, I didn't take any lessons. I watched one 10-minute YouTube video Aaron sent me, and then the first camera he suggested, I bought 3 of them.
That 10-minute YouTube video taught me more than any of my college classes.
Yeah.
So.
I think I just need to watch that 2 or 3 more times, and I'll get the hang of it. I kind of get the general concept, but I need to. There's a lot to learn.
Or just shoot more.
Yeah.
Or I can let you set up the cameras too, because I mean, I kind of just get in here and I just go to work.
Yeah, I mean, I did. I shot 3 other podcasts, and I think, well, first of all, I had these on warm, I think, which is a mistake. And then second of all, my wide was terrible. It was like, you could see like the whole plants, and it was like us from like here up. And so like in post, I like tried to fix it. It's pretty bad though. So.
I don't mind it being high up. I mean, my toes are out.
no free toes. Yeah.
Don't really want to give that away.
Don't accidentally cross your legs at any point.
It will be accidental, and I will cross my legs at some point.
You can edit it out in post.
Then I'll remember. I'll just put some sort of face on my feet instead.
Put like a little blurring effect. That'd be pretty sick. Give people something to look at.
It'd be a lot more work than I want to do.
You spend like 3 hours getting the perfect pixelated blur effect that traces the foot.
I will not lie. I've been struggling to find a job, and I did search porn editor.
Did you? Any hits?
There were some names that I unfortunately recognized.
Yeah.
That I was interested in applying for, but then I looked up on a very trustworthy source, Reddit. Somebody did an AMA as a porn editor, and a bunch of people asked questions, and it's not as much pay as I would expect. And it's more so just putting out as many videos as you can as opposed to actually editing it.
Yeah.
So anybody who has editing software could probably do it.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like the general rule for the entire industry. Everybody gets paid less than you think they do. Yeah.
I was thinking that desensitizing myself to something like sex would be like a higher pay grade, but not as much.
You get a little cherry on top of that, but yeah, not so much. I do see your train of thought though. That seems like something that you wouldn't find on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're not just going to stumble across it. So if you search it out, maybe the pay would be higher, but guess not.
It would be way worse if you did stumble upon that on LinkedIn and you had no idea. Like you never remembered. Like you just see Bang Bros on LinkedIn. You're like,
or it's just like a different name of the overarching company, like Editing Studios Anonymous LLC.
I would hope.
Yeah.
And then they send you the test edit file. You're like, what?
Hey, yo.
What am I watching?
I think you might have sent me the wrong file. No, that's it. That's today's shoot. If you just want to.
And then here's 2 more
minutes.
making it that long?
Just do a 2-minute cut, whatever you want.
Okay.
Free roam, and they judge you on that. So have you been doing like test edits and stuff for people and showing them that you can do work?
Yeah, I did a test edit for one company, and right now I'm going on a 3-video test run for a social media manager.
Oh.
So I'm making 3 TikToks for them this week, and then the concept that he's going to go with is if it reaches a certain amount of views, I get a bonus added on to the amount of money that I make off of making that video.
Okay, so you're getting paid for these 3.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I thought it was like, okay, let's do a test here. Make us 3 videos, and if they do really well, we will start paying you.
He's giving me an hour and a half pay to make these videos, and then just based off of how much they reach, he's giving me an additional amount of money.
Do you think that's a fair amount of time?
Yes, because I will probably make them in 20 minutes.
Really?
So, yeah. Essentially, he wants to take this company and instead of making every single TikTok an ad, he wants to make it a page, like a personality page, where the product is featured. So like a subliminal marketing type thing.
The product is your personality.
Yeah. So basically,
I feel like that'd do well.
It's a comforter company. He specifically said it wasn't blankets, but I'm just going to use it as a blanket and then say like, these are the best shows to watch or to binge on Netflix, but like while wearing the blanket or something like that, so that it's just always there.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's fuzzy. I want that.
Hey, yo.
And then the names of the blankets are ridiculous too, so I'm going to probably make content with that if this test goes well, because the most recent release is called Damn Boy He Thick.
That sounds like kind of a fun company then. That's cool. And it's going to be like all remote kind of stuff, or they have offices in Nashville?
Office in Madison, so
that's kind of far, isn't it?
It was a 22-minute drive for me, so
that's not bad. That's nothing.
Doxing myself. Don't come get me.
He lives 22 minutes away from what's the company name?
Blanket.com.
Blanket.com, and we'll just draw a circle around their headquarters, and
perfect.
We'll trace it to your location.
I'm slightly paranoid because I rip up every letter that I get before throwing it away or recycling it, so that my address isn't just fully written out there.
Really?
Yeah, and I've been doing that since like 17 years old.
Why?
Just if anybody goes into my trash, they just get to see like my full address.
Yeah, but there's phone books.
Yeah.
That has your name and full address.
Well, I'm not attached to the address that I am here because it's not consistent. So I'd rather my most important mail get shipped to my parents' house.
Yeah. But like, have you ever Googled your name and
it still says...
It says like a different address. Yeah. Mine has one that I lived at like 6 years ago. It has like my...
Could you just tell everybody like your full name, like spell it out and everything real quick?
Yeah. PRASTONTHORNILY.
Did you say AS?
Where? No.
He said PRAS. Preston.
Okay, yeah. They'll never get it now. Yeah. So I do have like several addresses out there that are accurate. And I'm like, I wonder if that was always there. But, I mean, does it really matter? Like, you could open up a phone book and have 300,000 accurate name and addresses. I don't think anybody really cares about mine. I don't know. Maybe they do.
I'm going to be famous one day. I plan on being rich like 5 days from now, so
5 days from now.
Yeah.
Wow. How much are they paying you an hour?
It's an hour and a half.
An hour and a half,
additional half hour that really bumps it up.
That puts you into the top 1%.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet, man.
So it makes me a top G.
Well, I'm excited. Hopefully this works out, and then you can get over to Fuds once you get rich.
Yeah. You're begging me to be on the team.
Bro,
the cat's meow needs me.
The cat's meow needs you, man. I've been trying to find a replacement. I'm just like, no way.
Lost their backup setter.
Man, I lost them all. Yeah. Well, I got Steve still. Me and Steve.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for 2 more. So hopefully this works out for you.
But he already was a replacement.
He was.
Yeah.
He was Ashton's replacement. I'm the only original member. I don't know if it makes me cool or whatever. But...
Maybe look into the source of the problem then.
Okay.
What's the only constant on the team here?
It seems like I'm able to stick with things and everybody else is kind of flaky.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what I see.
Yeah, I'm flaky. No other reason.
Yeah, how dare you? what are we doing? This is the podcast.
This is the only time we talk every week, so
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
us catching
We
up.
like to catch up. We hang out probably several times a week,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, this is a nice chance to catch up. This is a podcast. We go watch reality TV shows and we figure out, is this real?
Yeah. The title of this, if you haven't searched it already, is Real View, and I'm Aaron
I'm Preston,
with an A.
also with an A, apparently.
And today this past week, we watched different amounts of the show Snowflake Mountain on Netflix.
Very different amounts. This is the biggest. I think this is most we're gonna disagree on a show, probably maybe ever.
Okay.
It definitely so far.
Mm-hmm.
I texted Aaron. He texted me. He said, "Hey, we should check out the show called Snowflake Mountain." And I was like, "All right, that sounds interesting." And he was saying that he's already pretty much all the way through, and he's really enjoying it. And I was like, "Great." And so I look it up like 2 days ago, and I start watching it, and it from the beginning, as soon as I learned the concept, it was already tough.
Mm-hmm.
So the concept of the show, Snowflake Mountain, the term snowflake is like someone that's fragile, that's generally lazy and entitled. It's like how boomers describe Gen Z or millennials or anybody that's younger than them that wasn't born in the 60s and had to drink frozen orange juice or whatever they claim.
Walk uphill both ways.
The whole mentality of my childhood was harder and therefore I'm better than you kind of thing. Anyway, so it's a show where they get all these entitled kids. I say kids, they're 20 to 30 generally.
Which was surprising that they're all.
You thought so?
Everybody but one was over 21 because there's a lot of alcohol. Like they're drinking a lot on this show.
Yeah. We'll get to that in a minute. What are you gonna say?
But yeah, it's surprising that I think the oldest was like 26 or 27, and most of them just some of the quotes that they say. Like one guy was like, "And I try to never walk. I've never walked up a hill in my life," like something like that.
Yeah. So the reason I take issue with the show is it just seems like every like boomers and like not even people that are in that generation necessarily, but everybody that has that chip on their shoulder, like my childhood was harder. You guys are all entitled. This younger generation sucks. It seems like it was just built for them because that's all the show is about, is like how these people suck. And like even so they bring on 2 survival experts that are going to bring them into the woods and show them how to survive off the land. And these guys are like, yeah, we're doing them a service. We're going to finally step up and do something about it because we're doers and they're not. And it's just like, oh, man, that's hard to watch. And then, there's all these kind of bratty people that are like, oh, there's dirt.
So you were more affected by the hosts rather than the contestants?
I mean, it's kind of the whole thing, but it was just, I think the concept irked me more than anything. It just seems like it just tailors to people that whine about the younger generation.
Okay.
And the whole thing. Okay, so they would like show clips at the beginning. They're like, these are why these kids are entitled. They'd like interview them in their home. And one of the guys was like, oh yeah, I don't know how to do the dishes or whatever. And his mom's like, yeah, he doesn't know how to do the dishes, so like he won't do them. And I'm like, whose responsibility is this? You really think it's the kid's fault that he hasn't done dishes and he's 27 years old? Or is it the mom who's like, oh yeah, he's my little boy and I wish he would, but he doesn't know how, so oh well. It's like, it's clearly a parenting error. You failed on this kid. It's not his fault that he hasn't had to do dishes in his entire life. So it's just like you're pointing the finger at the wrong person. It's frustrating to watch. That's what I would say.
Okay. All right. Well, I love shock factor in shows, and for this show specifically, the shock factor was that people like this exist. And that's crazy to me because none of those type of people are in my circle. So we have, like you said, like ranged from 18 to 27-year-olds that live at home still, and they do very minimal for themselves. Most of them, I don't think any of them have a job. A lot of them own things like Gucci and very expensive clothing, which is like, okay, they got it from their parents if they don't work. And it's just, they don't go outside. Like we looked up their social accounts and stuff after watching the show.
Oh yeah.
And they're just definitely like Gen Z Zoomers, like always on social media, TikTok, all that stuff. So they're very stereotypical in that regard. But it's just crazy what I've been through, because I went through Boy Scouts, so camping and stuff. There's like a big punishment on the show where it's called Last Chance Lake, where 2 people get sent to this lake where it's like very minimal tent and just like a campfire, and they have to spend the night like that. And if they back out, then they back out and they lose money. But if they stay there and make it through the night, they get to continue in the competition. And to me, that would be such a fun experience, being out there and just like very minimal things. Like I would frequently during Scouts just like take a sleeping bag, go into the middle of the woods, stargaze till 2 a.m. and then just like wake up at 8 or something like that. But yeah, the show, they don't reveal it until the first person leaves, but everybody is competing for $50,000. If somebody leaves the campsite at any point and goes home, because they are welcome to leave at any point, it drops $5,000 off of the prize pool. So that's incentive to get everybody to stay around. And I don't think they reveal until like halfway through the show that only one person gets it. Yeah,
I think that must have been the case, because I didn't know that. I was wondering if everybody gets it or not. It's kind of like Love Island. Right? They do that thing where they keep taking money away, that at the end they're like, oh, by the way, only one person gets it, and they have to vote. And it's like, okay, well, why did I care this whole time?
The characters develop pretty fast, because around the time where they say only one person gets it, they have to start dropping money for other reasons than somebody leaving. Because they're like, nobody's leaving. A lot of them switch up their mentalities like 4 episodes in. They're like, all right, this is kind of fun. I'm in it for the long run, which is awesome. That's why I enjoyed the show so much, because I love the satisfaction of seeing people improve or like feel proud in themselves. And all of these people just like, they skin a deer at one point. Yeah. And they're just so hype on it.
Yeah, I did see that. That was pretty cool. I could see why you do enjoy that aspect of it. Just the characters were hard to relate to in some aspects. So like you said, I always went camping growing up too. And I think even if I didn't grow up going camping, I think going out into the woods, hanging out on a lake, or going rock climbing, or doing these different experiences, that's like something I would go like pay to do.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of seems like a little trip. So I guess I don't completely understand why it's such torture. Like you said, like Last Chance Island. I'm like, oh, okay, like a night of camping, that sounds fun and adventurous. Like maybe I haven't done it to that extent, but that sounds good to me. But I guess I have met these kind of people before that claim not to be outdoorsy, and I'm always like, what does that mean? What do you mean you don't like the outdoors? You like the indoors? I don't get it.
Yeah, and these people are like next level beyond not liking the outdoors. They don't spend time outdoors. It sounds like they can genuinely just sit at home and be alive. Like,
yeah,
because it doesn't even sound like they go to the grocery store to help their parents get food or anything like that.
Yeah,
they're just at home.
Yeah, I think if I could get past the whole like blame game thing, like the narrative that this show is, it just so cringy to me, then I think I could watch it for like the character development. But it's hard to get past that, where they're like ignoring the whole part where these parents like forgot to raise their kids.
So you watched how many episodes and then watched highlights?
I watched 20 minutes of the first episode, and I wanted to shut it off in about 3 minutes. But I stuck it out to about halfway through the episode, and I was like, I can't do this. And then I like tried to look up more clips and stuff like that. Wasn't super successful, but I felt like I got the gist of it.
Okay. Yeah. So I did not text you to watch the show until I got to the 3rd episode, because I was like, ooh, this is kind of rough. Originally, I thought the word snowflake wasn't a generational thing. I thought it was like a political thing. Like I thought people called liberals snowflakes. So when I looked at it,
it's a common link. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was surprised when it wasn't just like a heavy politics show. So
yeah. It's not a political thing. It's definitely used. It's a common word used by politicians, but yeah.
I think a lot of people are on board with that too, because they open up with the show saying like the definition of what Snowflake is.
Yeah.
It is funny though, like you said, it's cringy when the hosts are like, these snowflakes you need to learn how to handle their own stuff like that. You're like, they're two ex-military guys. So
and like they clearly like know how to handle themselves outdoors, and that's cool. But they're like, yeah, we're gonna roll up our sleeves and do something about this and fix this generation that's helpless. And I'm like, all right, man, it's not really a generation. There's just a few entitled kids that had bad parents, but whatever. So how do you feel on the realness scale? You said you love the character development and these people being proud and improving themselves. So it feels like you thought it was all legit.
I think it's pretty real, but with these shows, with self-improvement, it's as soon as the show's done, they don't stay that way.
They don't keep up with it.
Yeah, so I would say, just because I didn't do any research, and there's really not too many things that could be faked or made dramatic for entertainment, I would say around the 70 to 80% range, something like that.
What's keeping you from going all the way on this one?
It's just general entertainment. They need to probably film something once or twice, or if they thought it was good, or they try to egg somebody on to do something because it's better for camera or something like that.
Yeah, I'd say it's hard to tell. I mean, I guess they'd have to be pretty decent actors to be able to act throughout the whole show, or they could just take the parts where they were acting well. But yeah, I mean, some of the personalities were extraneous, but I have met these people. Actually, I have a story of when I was in 8th grade, I went on this church trip into the woods, and I lived in Florida. And this guy that was like one of the church leaders took like 12 of us kids out in the woods. He had like a monster truck, essentially. This thing was like 12 feet off the ground, 10 or 12 feet off the ground where you're actually sitting, wheels like a monster truck, and it's built to go through the swamp. And, they can clear kind of a wide path, but it can go through really deep mud, can handle anything. It's got insane tires on it. So he thought it'd be a fun church trip to take us kids camping in the swamp. I'm like, that sounds like a great time. I'll go to that. And so we get out there, and I don't know if you know much about the population of Florida, especially in southern Florida, but it's all right along the beach. Okay. And the middle is just swampland. Nobody really lives there. Very few and far between. So he takes us out to the middle, and then once we get there, we start down a swamp path, basically, into the woods, and we drive on this thing for like 45 minutes. So we're deep in the middle of nowhere, just miles and miles and miles away from any civilization. We get out there, and we're in the middle of a swamp. There's more mosquitoes than you could possibly imagine, and he didn't bring any bug spray. And
bug spray!
So we didn't have bug spray, and none of us were wearing pants or long sleeves because it's Florida, and it's summer, so it's hot. So I was wearing shorts and short sleeves, and the plan was just to lay under the stars and go to sleep. But there were so many bugs. At the end of it, I walked away with over 100 mosquito bites.
You counted?
Yeah. Like all my legs were just covered. Like my leg was just like swollen because I had so many. Like it was an awful, awful night. But there was a kid on this trip, and this is how I know these people are real. We had a kid on the trip who would not stop whining the whole time. And like we were all miserable. We were all in it together. We all understood there's no escape. We can't leave. This night's going to suck. Just sit close to the fire and get through it, power through. But he was like, there's so many bugs. There's so many bugs. He's like, I can't take this. I can't take this. He said, I can't take this upwards of 600 times. Okay. It was like 20 times a minute. You
had to have been bored because not only did you count your 100 mosquito bites, you counted how many times this man said, I can't take this.
Oh, man. I mean, it was a struggle. But I was like, there's no choice. We have to take it. What do you mean you can't take it? There's no other option. When you run into the woods, that's not going to help you.
You run back to the coast.
Oh, man.
Get out of the swamplands.
Yeah, that was a miracle we didn't get like malaria or any insect-borne diseases because our odds were increasing rapidly.
You were patient zero for something.
Probably. That was a bad situation. I'm glad we didn't live in an area where mosquitoes are more dangerous than they are there, because we would have been in a lot of trouble. So, yeah, there's definitely people out there, like, he wouldn't calm down the whole time. He was just losing his shit.
And at the end of the night, you got to play Connect the Dots and make a unicorn out of all your mosquito bites.
Yeah, then I never saw that kid again, and I was like, thank God. I never want to interact with these people.
Yeah, sounds like a kid you never want to see again.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, not an outdoorsy person, he says.
Yeah, I much prefer Xbox.
It's just a lot easier than walking.
My dad used to say anything that I did with technology was playing Xbox.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so even if I was just like filming something in my room, he'd be like, yeah, Aaron's upstairs playing Xbox.
My mom said the same thing, but with Nintendo. He's on the Nintendo again.
On the Nintendo. That's like the Facebook.
Yeah, he's on the Facebooks.
Okay, so let's go back to the show, I guess.
I was just saying, I think people like that are out, like, people that act like that are out there. So these characters are believable. I don't interact with them typically, but I have interacted with them in the past. So I think they can be real. I don't know if they are or not. It's hard to say. I'd say most of the show is real, even though I didn't. Although the part that I think is kind of fake is, so they all got tricked into going on this show.
Yeah.
By their parents. I'm like, how exactly are you tricked into going into a survival show?
And they all signed waivers too. So.
Yeah. It's not like, I don't know how that would happen. It's like that MILF Manor show. Have you heard of this?
I've heard of it. I've not looked at anything on it yet.
This is a completely different reality show, but it's like where these moms and their sons both go on this show. And so there's like a bunch of moms and a bunch of kids, and they like date each other. Like they date other moms and other kids.
The kids date each other and the moms date each other?
No.
No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, that would make more sense almost in a weird way. But yeah, so that show's super cringy, but the premise is it was a surprise. They didn't know that this was the show.
They didn't know that was their mom that they were dating.
Yeah. So I think that part's faked. I don't think you were surprised that you were going on a survival show. I think you signed up because you wanted clout or whatever the case may be. But other than that, I think it was pretty real.
There are a few instances where they believe that they're going to get rewarded with something like a hotel stay or a spa treatment or something. So maybe they were told things like, you have to complete this challenge and then you'll get to go fly on a private jet or something like that.
Yeah, or maybe like while they were signing up for the show, they alluded to certain things. Because yeah, a lot of contestants were like, oh yeah, I think they're actually we're going to go to a spa. We're going to get this or that if we complete this. And I don't know if they were lied to or they just kind of were like, oh yeah, you might get a little something if you stay in here. I don't know what their deal was, but yeah. And then the other thing that I think really, maybe you'll have a better insight on this since you watched more of it, but the very first frame of that camp, they like clipped the bar in like the cafeteria area, which is like a little gazebo next to the water, and the bar is stocked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a full bar, like 50 bottles on this shelf and like fridges like packed. I'm like, what? Like, this is like completely different than the whole aim of the show. It's like supposed to like get these kids to toughen up, and you're just like giving them unlimited alcohol that's completely unrelated. Yeah,
so I mean, that's probably for entertainment purposes, but
yeah,
they do get beer in all of their supply drops. Because they don't really mention it besides the first one. The first time that they get food and stuff, they mention that they got alcohol in it. But then every time further on that they get rewarded with something, they're like, I hope it's more beer. So it was probably stocked for the first 2 nights, but they killed it.
Yeah, maybe. That seemed like a lot. Yeah, like they didn't really mention it in the first couple scenes. You just like see in the background they got like 2 empty bottles of wine on the table and like a bunch of beers lined up. And they're just like having normal conversations. I'm like, y'all are going hard.
The reason that I thought that you would enjoy the show more is because of their initial food supply drop. They have 2 teams of, I think, 4 or 5 go to 2 separate supply drops. And then one team secures all of the sweets, like gets like the marshmallows, candy bars, all that stuff. And they hoard it for themselves.
Yeah.
And don't tell the other team that they got that stuff. And then the secret's out at the end of episode 2 and the beginning of episode 3.
Like the hosts reveal it, right?
No. So this one girl's vegan, right? And they had 2 separate groups, one to go cut down a tree and one to skin a deer. They put the vegan in the skin the deer one, and it's her birthday. Like, it's her birthday when she has to go do that. So she goes back to camp because she says, yeah, I'm not going to skin a deer.
Yeah.
And one of the guys gives her a chocolate bar that he hoarded, and that's when it all breaks loose. Because she's the youngest on the show. She is, like, the most immature, too, from my perspective. And she immediately reveals to everybody else, like, hey, he just gave me a chocolate bar and then told me he stole all of this stuff from us.
Yeah. I mean, I probably wouldn't keep that secret either. I'd be like, fuck these guys.
And then the drama pops off from there. So I thought maybe it would be like your, what's that? Real World. I thought it would maybe be like Real World for you.
Yeah. Yeah. It might dive into that. Maybe I'll just skip to like episode 4 and see if I can still watch it.
So that's my least favorite character, this vegan girl, just because she's so whiny and she never improves at all in any regard. And every time they want to reward somebody, she's always like, well, it better be me because I'm working the hardest around here.
Yeah, that sounds about right for those entitled type of people.
But my favorite character is this guy named Sonny, who's just like, he's the chillest guy on the show for sure. At first, you're like, this guy, nothing's going to happen from this guy because he's just so calm and just goes with the flow, whatever. But they get punished for stealing the food, so they have to go clean the outhouses. And they dig a huge hole, then dump all the waste into it. And then he just suddenly strips down and poops in the hole in front of everybody. And then it just cuts to his interview. He goes, I just pooped in a hole outside in front of 4 other people. I'm a changed man. I'm so glad I came on this trip. And from then on out, he does everything, no questions asked.
What? That's it. I find it hard to believe that a producer was like, hey, you should go shit in that hole. And and then if a producer did say that, then agreeing to it. So that definitely seems like his own idea.
He was just like, I gotta poop. I'm gonna do it right here.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no thanks. I don't know about that one. I wouldn't be doing that. If they asked me to do that on the show, I'd be like, yeah, that's a pretty hardcore show. I don't know if I can handle it. I like the camping under the stars. That's cool. I'll go swim for my food. I'm down with that. Shooting in front of 4 other people in a giant hole that I could potentially fall into and it's just filled with other people's. I'm good.
Okay, yeah, let me head out.
I'll back out on that one. I think I'll lose the $5,000.
All right, so they skin a deer, cut a tree down. They have to climb a tree at one point. They have to break a board in half, like a karate thing, to find their inner self. And then the big like final thing is they have to hike an entire mountain, and it's 22 miles long.
What?
Yeah.
Not in like a day, right?
2 days.
2 days. Okay, that's some intense exercise, especially for a lot of those people on the show. They don't look like they're in great shape.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
So
I mean, that would be tough for me, and I'm in decent shape.
They have like packs of stuff too, so they got some weight on them along with their own weight. They have hiking sticks, which I've never used, and I don't know how well that works for you.
I've heard mixed reviews from like actual hikers that hiking sticks are kind of bogus.
Do you think they're not legit hikers?
From the people I talk to or the people on the show?
The people on the show.
Yeah, it's probably an aesthetic thing, I would guess. Maybe it does help you if you're heavier. I don't know, man. I don't know anything about hiking. I just do it sometimes.
So they dropped the money down from $50,000 to $35,000 in a matter of a day because they do like these military drills. They just say like, we're going to tell you what to do. And if you talk back, you lose $1,000, something like that. And they drop down all the way from $50K to $35,000. And they tell everybody, if everybody makes it to the top of the mountain, we'll bring it back up to $50,000. And they do it. They get to the top of the mountain. It's insane too, because the two like most out of shape people that are worried about the entire thing are like leading the group, and they're so enthusiastic about it. And they end up being 2 of the final 3 because they end up the hosts choose 3 people that they saw the most improvement from, and then everybody else votes for which of the 3 is the most deserving of the 50K, which is cool.
That was cool.
Because I wanted them the whole time to be like, they should vote who gets it, like out of amongst each other, as opposed to just the host being like, yeah, you're coolest.
Yeah. I get that. And I think that can kind of turn into a popularity contest, though. Like, if they hadn't narrowed it down to 3, they're just like, oh, vote for somebody. It's like, oh, we'll vote for whoever we like the best.
Yeah, well, that's kind of like my mindset, too. Like, Sonny was one of the final 3, and I think just he's so quiet and so... Like, he's not featured on the show that much because he doesn't... Probably not that entertaining because he's so chill. But he was voted in the final 3 because the hosts decided that. But if they just didn't give like a top 3, then Sonny would not have been anywhere close to getting voted on because nobody would have picked him.
Yeah, he was a cool looking guy too. Had his sweet hairdo.
Cool looking guy. Yeah, I have a friend at home named Sonny who had long hair like him and is super chill too. So
made me want to grow it back out. I was like, man,
not worth it, man. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. And it only looks good sometimes, and other times you're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, I just want to cut it all off right now.
Yeah, and then you do, and then that's it.
Longest I had my hair was probably back in like 5th grade, and I think it was down to like shoulder blades.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. I can see it. Big good look. It was just like straight. Oh, foot reveal.
Yeah, I did it earlier and stopped myself.
Blur it out.
Make sure to sub to the Patreon to see the non-blurred version of that.
Yeah, that's the $75 tier.
I didn't know we had such low tier prices.
That's bi-weekly. Sweet. So I think overall, I would give the show probably a from what I saw, 1 out of 10.
Cool.
From what you explained to me, some of those highlights kind of sound more interesting. I'd probably give it a higher rating. But I think to get there, I'd have to overcome the cringe, which is a little difficult.
Yeah, if you could just do a highlight of the first 2 episodes, get a gist of that, and then go on from there. Significantly less cringe. I give this show an 8 out of 10.
Wow, your highest rating by far. I think that's twice as much as your second highest rating.
It's the only show I've watched all the way through.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive. All right, well, there you go. Mixed reviews.
Yeah, mixed reviews, but let's remember who watched the whole show.
Yeah, overall pretty real.
Yeah.
A little annoying narrative, but overall real in the things they're actually doing.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, similar to a Love Island, how they would do a season 2. Like, because they obviously have multiple ones. Yeah, but since it's just like out there. No. Well, I guess they also didn't really trick them, like you said.
Yeah, I think that's the part that's probably not really real. Mm-hmm. Although on Love Island, it does seem real. So, like, people don't typically want to go on the show. The kind of people they want on the show don't want to be on the show.
Yeah.
So they have to, like, trick them, and they say it's a different one. And that kind of does seem real. This is a total sidetrack on a different show. But Love Island, they're not allowed to touch each other or doing anything with each other, even though it's like a dating show. You're supposed to get to know people better. And it's like all these people that don't do that. It's people that, like, sleep with hundreds of people. And so they get those kind of people, they trick them into coming on the show, and then they reveal it's Love Island. And I think the last season I watched, they tricked them into, it was something else. It was like Paradise Island. And they had, I think, George Lopez as the host or somebody, like somebody pretty famous, like come out and be like, yeah, I'm the host. Welcome, everybody. And then, like, he just, like, leaves, and they're like, oh, no, that's not the show at all. And that was just like a cameo. He never came back. So that was fun.
You ready for some true or false?
Let's run it. I think I'm going to get wrecked on this because I don't know any of the real answers, but I'll use my best judgment.
All right, don't worry. It starts off really easy.
Okay, great.
A contestant gets horny while climbing a tree.
True.
Yeah.
I didn't see this part, but it definitely sounds like something that would happen.
That is true. Yes.
She bricked up on the tree?
Yeah, she was climbing the tree, and it just hit her in a different way, and she just verbalized it. She's always mentioning, like, I can't wait till my roommate just ends up not being home tonight so I can use my vibrator and stuff like that. So
is it the really big lady?
Yeah.
Yeah. That definitely, she's very verbal. I'd say that.
She is the winner of the show.
Really?
True or false?
Oh, okay, okay. That really surprised me. She could be. I think she'd probably end up being popular because she's funny, and at least what I saw, I think she could be funny. She's very talkative, very social, so I think she'd be good at making friends, and therefore would get more votes. But I don't know if she'd last that long, man.
Yeah, she has to be voted to the top 3 in order to be voted in. So
I'm not even sure that she would have made it to the last episode. Maybe. Because she did, as soon as that first girl left before they even knew it was a punishment, she was already calling her out. She's like, what? Why are you leaving? This is great. Shoot. I'll say true.
It is true.
Boom.
She is one of the first, she is the first of 2 to be sent to the Last Chance Lake is what it's called. And then from then on out, she's like, I'm not going back there. So she makes sure that she's like the best person.
That's funny.
So she doesn't get voted there again. But yeah, she was super enthusiastic on the whole like mountain hike. And honestly, like you could have been the worst human possible all the way until that hike and then just stepped it up for that and you could have won. Like it was very recency bias where the vote was like came from.
For sure.
While climbing the mountain, a man throws his backpack in anger and throws out his shoulder and calf muscle.
That sounds kind of believable. I don't know if you'd be that angry on a hike to... Could you get that angry on a hike to throw something? I feel like you'd just be tired and exhausted and be like, I'm fucking done or whatever. But throwing your back... Maybe if it's too heavy, you get pissed off. And if it is heavy, you might throw out your shoulder. And calf? How do you throw out your calf? That's a dramatic throw. Man, I'm gonna say false. I think he threw it, but I don't think he threw out his shoulder.
True. So he doesn't throw out his calf. I meant knee.
Oh,
but
okay,
it's like this one guy who seems pretty athletic. So you're surprised he's on this show because in general nobody does anything. But he
the
like
guy with
wakes
the basketball?
up. Yeah.
Yep.
They like make sure they get only the essentials from their bags, and he carries a basketball like all the way to the campsite.
And they're in the woods, so I don't know what you're gonna do with a basketball. Twirl it on your finger a while.
Yeah, but he's waking up early doing squats. Like he's athletic and he's in shape. So he gets on this hike and he's like, I want to accomplish this. But halfway up, he starts to get knee pain. So they send like some medics down to tell him like, hey, this won't affect you at all. Like, but you can't keep going like in your current condition. And he gets so pissed that he just like throws his backpack and then he just curls up on the ground and starts whining so hard. And they have to like carry him down the mountain to a ambulance.
Damn. That sucks.
All of the contestants' luxury items are put into a wheelbarrow and set on fire.
So I think this is actually... I saw the scene where this happens. I don't think it actually happens, though. I think, they just put they put they tell everybody, get your essentials out, put them in these dry packs, and they put their luggage in this wheelbarrow, and they have the demolitions expert blow it up and set it ablaze. I don't think their stuff's actually in there, but they did set it all on fire.
Yeah. It's a mixed answer because they do that right away, but it's revealed at the end once they climb the mountain that all of their stuff is still safe.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit of the death by magic for you, where they do an illusion. They just get a bunch of luggage bags that look like what they had originally and light them on fire.
I was like, there's no way they're going to... And I mean, I guess they could have signed something, but I mean, there's no way. All these people have like designer clothes, like probably
thousands of
30,
dollars.
40 grand in their bag potentially. And you're going to blow all of them up? I don't think that's a good idea.
So they get a new contestant on the show to replace the girl who quits out of the first day. And her stuff is thrown into a lake upon arrival, but she swims out to retrieve it.
That's pretty funny. I want that to be true, although I feel like the illusion would be broken because she would swim out and find it that's empty. Man, I want it to be true, so I'm gonna say true.
false. She does not swim out and get it, but the
Okay.
luggage does just float there. So as soon as they move on, they could just like pick it back up and take it. Because she gets there with her bag, they just pick it up and throw it.
Okay. So that probably required some setup if she was actually fooled by that. Like switching out her bag when she didn't notice. That'd be funny.
Out of 10 contestants, only one of them is unable to break a board in half.
That sounds believable. Man, I'm saying true to everything though. I'll say true.
It is true.
Okay.
Yeah. And she's very, very pissed off about it.
You
So they
think the pissed offness would allow her to break the board?
Oh, no. She's just like, she keeps saying, I can't do it. And of course, the hosts are like, you can't just keep saying can't do it. You know?
Yeah.
You're never going to get anywhere if you just think you can't do something. The whole idea behind the breaking board in half thing is all like a mental battle. Like, if they can convince themselves in their mind that they could break the board, then they could break the board. I mean, most of them can't do a push-up. So the fact that they could break the board in half means it's more mental than physical. But she's just whining the whole time. Like ow, I hurt my hands. That's it for the true and false.
Sweet. I think I passed. I think I got 3 out of 5. No, I got 4 out of 5.
I don't know how many I had because I genuinely didn't know how many episodes you watched. So I don't know how many episodes you watched, and I don't know what I talked about in the podcast already. And I wanted it all to be new stuff, so I just made them up on the spot here.
Yeah, I think it was 5. I think I got 80%, and I almost got 100. But I really wanted that to be true, where she swam out to get the bag.
That would have been so funny.
She would have to be pretty athletic to be confident to dive into a lake without a life jacket. But that would have been sweet. Good
She's
TV.
from New York, so who knows?
That doesn't really give any information to me.
It's isn't it one of the healthiest cities in the United
New York
States?
City?
Yeah, because they walk everywhere. That was a stat when I was like in 5th grade. So
Okay, I guess I could believe it. Yeah, there's a lot of people in there though, and a lot of food.
And a lot of food.
Yeah.
That's one big apple, that's for sure.
Hell yeah, nice one. All right, final segment. Let's wrap this bad boy up.
Okay. Eat till I'm sleepy. The muffins are beefy. Bless this mess.
Once again, love the lyric. Big fan.
Big fan of the lyric.
Ah, man.
What's that mean then? Because normally if you love the lyric, I wrote it.
That's true. But you're already trying to persuade me one way, so that kind of pushed me the other way now. A little bit of reverse psychology, I'm not sure.
You know those would you rather moments where you say two things, but then you're always like trying to get them to say one more than the other, so you're like pitching it more.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of thinking here. Could you rap it? Is it? Yeah. It's not rap.
Can I rap it?
It's a song. Or is it a rap?
Yeah, it's back and forth cadences, like in the actual artist stuff. Okay. So, eat till I'm sleepy. The muffins are beefy. Bless this mess.
That's how it sounds in the song.
with the way this guy does his lyricism, it'd be more like,
okay. It would be. Okay, I think you might have slipped that there. I'm going to say you wrote this one.
No.
Damn it.
I actually didn't write any, so I'm on the Reddit where it says favorite lyrics from the people from this band, and I just was scrolling. That's why we were doing that York conversation. I would never talk about York that long.
We'll cut all that out.
I was buying some time.
At one point, I said York was a country, and now I feel like an idiot. So
is York a country?
I don't think so.
Is York
I think it's a
country? City? It is a city, but York is a cathedral city in North Yorkshire, England. Yorkshire is a...
England.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a city. I'm a fucking idiot. God
dumbass. That's it. I'm not doing a show with this guy anymore.
All right, fuck it. Peace.
It's the...